All right, we are live now. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Welcome everyone to our second conversations that we have with our guest speakers. And inshallah, today we have Dr. Mehmet Ozalp, who I know personally for a very long time. So welcome, Dr. Mehmet.
Thank you very much for having me, Suhail. Good evening to everybody, and assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam. I'd like to first begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the lands where we all come from, and I would like to pay our respects to elders past and present. Okay, so we have our viewers tuning in slowly, and I guess in life we go through periods of very strong motivation. We go through periods of being very efficient, productive in our lives, and this could be perhaps any aspects of our life. It could be work, it could be maybe even prayer, spirituality, and so on. However, the difficulty comes when we go through bad periods, and I guess one of the meanings of our topic today, the word slump. So our topic is getting out of slump, and we have Dr. Mehmet here to help us in pulling us out from this slump if we are experiencing it, or if we will experience it, and especially in these difficult times, perhaps there is more chance of us falling into some sort of a slump or rut. Maybe that's a good place to start, Dr. Mehmet. When someone says slump or rut, what do they mean? Is there one definition, or is there more than one way of understanding the concept?
Well, being in a rut or being in a slump is a state of being when one feels that they're not performing as well as they were in the past, and that they have a negative feeling about that, and then their lives, their day-to-day activities have a boring routine that they're in. And when I say boring routine, I don't mean people doing the same things every day at work or in their lives, and we do inevitably. We work and we do repetitive things. We clean the house, make cooking, but a boring routine in the case of a rut is that you're in some sort of you're doing things, but which are preventing you to achieve and to do better things that that you should be doing. So that's what we mean by being in a boring routine. So this is the kind of the state of being in a rut. Is a negative feeling, and sometimes it's depressive. Not being depressed in a clinical sense, but a kind of a depressive feeling that you should be doing better in your job, in your life, in your personal circumstances, but you're not performing as best as you could.
Okay, that's I guess that's understandable. Are there some practical examples, maybe even from your personal life? I mean, I've known you for many years now. I know you've been involved in community work. Community work takes a lot of effort. There's always ups and downs. Perhaps the rewards are not as direct as working, let's say, in a profit earning company, or in a very successful company. Maybe in a community setting, this idea of going into a slump or into a rut it's maybe more common. How do you personally deal with that?
Well, believe me, I also went through those instances myself in my life, and thankfully, I have achieved a lot of things in my life, and I'm in a very good spirit and in a positive, high performing state. But there were instances where I also had experience and being in a rut, and usually we enter into a state of a slump and a rut when certain things in our lives change dramatically, you could be losing your job, or you may divorce, or sometimes having a child, for ladies is a big reason to go into that kind of slump. And sometimes it's having too many things to do. That causes you have so many things that you should be doing that you end up doing none of them, and you escape to a comfortable routine, but that causes you to be in that slump and rut state. I have experienced that one, definitely. Just having too many projects and tasks and ambitions, and that definitely caused me from time to time to be in a state where my productivity went down dramatically. And maybe third one is a loss of purpose in your life, or a mission of your life, in that you may have a massive goal, and then you complete that, and as soon as you complete it, you say, what do I do now? You feel you enter into this field where you're directionless. Before, you had a reason to wake up and do something. And by the way, the way to recognize being in a rut is when you don't look forward to waking up in the morning, and then through the day you try to raise your energy. Okay, I'm gonna do these 5 things today, and then you end up being distracted, interrupted, or lapse into that boring routine I was talking about, and then you end up doing none of them. And as a result of that, at the end of the day, you feel like you have wasted your day away. Another day of your life goes, and then you feel terrible. So these 3 things is to the way to recognize you're in a rut. You don't look forward to waking up. You want to raise up your energy and performance, but you're not able to, and then you feel bad, like you wasted your day at the end of the day. So that's the way to recognize it. And the 3 reasons that I mentioned that can cause a person to enter into a rut is loss of purpose, having too many things to do, having big major changes in your life happening, and then that really throws off your equilibrium. And perhaps we could add to that a 4th one, which is to have competing commitments in your life. Like, you could be doing really well in one area of your life, but in a rut in another area. Once when I was working in Telstra before my community work, I had a colleague who was really badly performing, and I was managing his performance, and I just didn't know why he was performing that badly, and he was in a rut, and I told him that. Eventually, I found out he admitted that he was spending a lot of his time in managing a community radio. He had this wonderful voice, and he was just spending every day on the radio, so he had no time for work. And I think in moments like that, when you have these competing commitments, we just have to own up to it and say, look, I have to make a choice and go one way or the other.
If I can just pick up on the point that you mentioned, waking up in the morning and looking forward to the day.
I'm not looking forward to the day.
I'm not looking forward to the day.
Opposite.
Okay, but I guess maybe a lot of us we have more or less similar days in a way. So we wake up in the morning. Maybe we're not too down, but not too hyper, motivated as well. And usually our programs for the day throughout the week is generally the same, like more or less, wake up, go to work, come back, maybe have dinner, watch TV, sleep. Is that good? Is that also part of being in a slump, where like it's not necessarily a state where you're down, but it's just a bit of a machine or a robot where you just do the same things over and over again and not really doing anything new, or maybe reading a book or listening to a lecture? Is that an okay state to be at, or should we aim a bit higher?
Yeah, well, that's okay. You're not in a rut in that state or slump, but you're probably mediocre, we could say, or average life. The average person does that. And believe me, like there are things I do every day. I probably taught the same course, 10 times, and then it feels sometimes repetitive. But the way to get out of that mediocrity is to have goals in life and have plans, written goals, and that so you can easily shift from that into a very productive, like or highly productive, let's say, state. So you could be really productive and doing well, in your job, in your life, family, but it's kind of average. So you can help improve that by having a vision for yourself, having a bit more mission and setting goals. Like for example, I ride bicycle. If I just say I'm just going to get out and cruise, I'll probably do 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers, let's say, in a very slow speed. But that's not going to give me fitness. But when I say I made a goal, I'm going to ride 100 kilometers every week. So that makes me measure myself and say, how much did I ride this week? Oh my God, I have to make 100 kilometers. So this Sunday I'm going to do 40 instead of normal 20, and so it makes me meet those goals. And when I do, I feel good about it. So in that way we excel. I mean, that's a different problem to being in a slump or a rut. The rut is the opposite, where you're not performing at all, and maybe entirely in your life, or some important parts of your life. Like it could be family, it could be your job, it could be your other things, your education or something like that, where like you could be doing really well in one and not well in the other, or entirely be in a very down state.
You mentioned certain aspects of one's life where we can, we're doing well, but another aspect we're not doing well, and that's sort of falls down under slump or rut. But let's say, for example, I mean, I've been teaching Arabic language, for a very long time, and there are certain people that are very interested in learning Arabic. Everybody wants to learn Arabic. Everyone wants to understand the Quran, the Hadith, and some people try hard. Like they try, it doesn't work. They try, it doesn't work. So you can say they're really good at other aspects of life, but they keep on trying. 1 week, 2 week, they attempt it, it doesn't work. Is there a point where someone says, okay, maybe this is not my problem, I'm trying really hard, maybe this is not just maybe it's not meant for me? Is like, when does a human being decide that? Because you could think that, okay, I'm just wasting my time, I've set this goal aside, I'm trying to be really good at it, I'm trying and trying and trying, it doesn't work. When do you pull the plug, like they say?
Well, I think what's really the key thing there is to ask yourself, like when you're feeling you're like a failure, or you're failing in what you do, or it's too hard. Sometimes it's just too hard, right? Like learning a language is not easy. What we need to do is that just two things I would suggest. One is to talk to ourselves. Like the mindset is very important. How important is that for me? I think we just need to question the importance of that thing. If it's really important, then we need to stick to it. And the second thing that we need to ask is, I can do this. Like if I put my mind to it and put all the energy, given the time, I can do it at a level that probably, like, you're not going to be an Olympic athlete or something, or great grammarian in Arabic, but you can learn Arabic really well. Like, millions of people do it. Again, if I give an example from cycling, because like when I first started, I puffed out in the first kilometer, and I thought exactly the same thing. Is this really for me? Am I just too old to start cycling? And then I said the question myself, is this really important for me to do? And I said, yes, it is, because not being fit it's just going to be downhill from a certain age. You know, it's just going to be getting worse and worse, and then we're going to be old or look old and not have that vitality. And for me, that's very important for me to perform in other aspects of my life. So I said, well, this is really important. I need to stick to this. And I did. I've been doing it for 1 year now. And I can just tell you, just recently in my area, there are these segments where people, that the fastest people, like there could be like hundreds of people riding in that area, and it just gives you the ranking. And I got into top 10 in one of the segments, 1 kilometer segment. So I was really happy about that. So not only I was able to keep up and learn the cycling and get fit, but I'm also now beginning to be really above average, which is a great feeling. And again, it when you achieve these things, little things, not like sometimes we give ourselves only one goal, which is the ultimate, you know, like saying I'm gonna learn Arabic and I'm gonna be able to read the Quran. And then after studying 6 months, you haven't achieved that. You feel like a failure. But instead, what you can say is that, okay, this week I'm going to learn 10 words. And you have that goal. And when you do, again, the dopamine in your brain will give you a rush and you'll feel good about it. And it will motivate you to learn more and more and more. So in small increments, small steps, we get to the big goal.
Okay, so so how does someone know that they are going through the state? Are there obvious symptoms? Are there signs, or is it just I wake up a morning and oh my God, I'm feeling bad and I've fallen into this slump state?
No, it's a consistent feeling that every day that you're in this routine, you don't have energy you can't get your energy up and performance level up, and that you're avoiding your main responsibilities, duties, or goals and tasks. It's just somewhere you put it aside and you just do other things that are things like social media, and go on YouTube, watch TV, ring up somebody, talk to a friend, or even do cycling. You know, cycling could be an escape mechanism, or any like a hobbies. Doing your hobbies could be a escape things. Like you're doing a lot of these nice things that, but completely useless stuff, which is not going to give you, any improvement, or you're not achieving anything while you're doing that. You're entertaining yourself, just spending time, and then you can't get your energy up. And in the back of your mind, you know you're avoiding this other thing. So there is this subliminal anxiety, the discomfort feeling that you have. So which makes you not look forward to the day. Like you wake up in the morning, you say, oh my God, it's another day that I'm going to have to go through this. And then you feel really bad going to bed. You're like, it's that those are the kind of feelings that gives you signs. And if you're feeling that way consistently, you know, for like a month or so, like obviously we have bad days, good weeks, bad weeks. And it's also, I feel like, I think it's important for you to talk to somebody, a friend, of what you're going through, and that friend can say to you, look, you're in a rut, you're in a slump at the moment, and you got to get out. And then you need to recognize that you're in that state as well.
Yeah, I guess we also live at a time, a very interesting time, where technology is meant to make things easier for us, which I think it has in many ways. But at the same time, perhaps it's making us, it's difficult to focus on a task, or give the due right of a task. So we have our phones. That's it's not. I mean, it can be used for good, but it's not always. I guess you can easily slip into wasting your time. there's TV, there's so much happening. How can we balance all these distractions that we could potentially have, and which could easily make us fall into a rut, versus pulling ourselves up and making sure we focus on our goals?
As you said, technology makes it easier to perform really well. Like if you want to really research or write something, it's in your fingertips. You can get to so many places. Something that would take a couple of weeks to write, I can write it in 1 week, if at the moment. But it also makes it easier to escape, into social media, YouTube, and many other platforms. Obviously, we don't want to blame technology, but we just need to be aware of the effect of this technology on us. Like, for instance, I would guarantee that a lot of people who are listening now, the first thing they do when they wake up is check their phone, maybe YouTube, I don't know. Even think like, when I'm having shower, I'll play something. I strongly encourage you not to do that. The reason is that for at least for 1 hour, like 1 hour in the day, don't open up your phone.
Sorry, was this 1 hour after we wake up, or 1 hour any time in the day?
No, immediately when you wake up. Like, don't check your phone, because that puts you in that boring routine. Like, you have to break the routine. And the way to break the routine is to get your brain working. Like, when we are watching something, listening to something, you're a receiver. Like, your brain works in a different way. But if you don't have these things, you're gonna start thinking about, okay, what am I gonna do this day? What do I need to do? You will start thinking. When your brain starts thinking, it generates impulses about what you need to do. So, like, those natural impulses will come in. Look, I have experienced this myself. At some stage I was doing the same, because these phones are very addictive, and first thing I was doing was checking the messages, and then you get into this routine, and then I said, wait a minute, what's going on? I'm losing my ability to think. So then I practiced. I said I deliberately did not touch it, and I got that back, And then you go into a productive routine in the day. So the things that you like doing or watching on YouTube, or I don't know, I like Sudoku, for example, solving Sudoku. Like Sudoku, if you start doing that first thing in the morning, you can go 3 hours, and then you've done nothing but Sudoku. So instead, what I do is I reward myself by, like, when I do certain things, and maybe lunchtime or later in the evening while I'm having dinner, I play Sudoku. So it becomes a reward thing, not the main thing that I do. And I think this is what we need to do, like the TV, social media, and these other things. We all, obviously, we need to connect to them. These are part of our lives now, but just do it as a reward to yourself after you achieving the main goals, what you need to do in your life and in your day, and then you even feel it, enjoy it, and you don't feel guilty about. It's a bit like if you have a really good diet and you can cheat from time to time, like you can have a cake, you're not going to get fat, and you're not going to feel guilty about it. So that's how we should use this technology, in that way.
Can we also say that, and we sometimes hear this from from people who are experts in being very efficient and in management in their life and so on. Sometimes there's this concept of like, if you're strong in your morning, then the rest of your day is kind of guaranteed to be good. Like, you're very motivated because you started off very well. Is that true in that sense?
Certainly true, and that's exactly what I was talking about. We have to, the way we start the day is extremely important, and it will determine the rest of the day. So if you lapse into that routine, which is Like you'll immediately do the same things, and then you're not going to be able to get out. But you break that cycle by waking up, like whatever you need to do, prepare, and just use that time, your toilets, shower, to a time for thinking and planning the day. That's what I do, and it's really great. Uh, and uh, and then it immediately I feel like, okay, I got to get these done. I got to get this done. So you got the motivation, you got the impulse in you, and you start doing those things. And by the time, before you know it, it's lunchtime, and you forgot to eat, or that's when you can reward yourself, take a break, reward yourself a little bit. But if you find that certain things are very addictive, um, like don't get into those during the day at all. I would say just leave those to night, evening, like when you're really tired from the day and you've done all the main things during the day, and then you can really lapse into that at night just before sleep. Um, by the way, when I say doing main things in the day, I recommend for you to do like 2 or 3 like big things. Like these are like we say, the rocks. You put your rocks in the container first, then you can fill it with sand and water quite easily. Like identify 2, 3 big things. That's what I do. I just put those 3 things on top of my notebook or diary, and then everything else comes underneath that. And then inevitably you get phone calls, you get emails, and like you have meetings that other people set up that you have to attend to. Like there's other things that we do through our jobs or work or lives, but you just have to say, okay, I need to achieve at least one thing, like one main thing today. Like if you can really do that, that means you achieve 7 big goals for the week. My goal is to have 10, to achieve 10 things for the week, and that's what I planned that those 10 things on Sunday evening, and so that gives me to schedule that for the rest of the week.
Yeah, that's a very good point. We've heard so many times, and I'm sure we have experienced it. I have experienced it. I'm sure you have experienced this idea that like sometimes when you wake up a little bit early in the morning before Fajr prayer, or just while Fajr or the dawn prayer is still on, and then when you don't go back to bed, so that period, let's say between 5 a.m. or 6 a.m., depending on when the sun rises, up to about, let's say, 8 a.m. I've heard so many people, and I've experienced that as well. That period is a very blessed period, and I've heard so many people say that I've been so productive in that early morning of the hour, compared to maybe 6-7 hours in the day. And that period, I guess, is from Islamic point of view, that period is there's a lot of blessings, barakah. You wake up, you do your askar as well, your prayers, and then spiritually, mentally, you're all set in the morning.
Yeah, exactly. And also physiologically, your body is designed, like the liver releases glucose to the blood stream. And by the way, you don't need to eat anything in the morning. You don't need to drink coffee to wake up. Your body naturally releases hormones to really make you alert, and because you're supposed to start the day really in a very positive, like high energy. Your body is designed for that. And if we're feeling that we have to have coffee to wake up and do other things, it could only mean you slept very late, and or you've done other things that prevented you to wake up early or start the day. So it also, like I have written most of my work in the mornings. I can write maybe 1 page in 2 hours at night. In the morning, I can write 2 pages in half an hour. So it's a very productive time, and we
No,
really need to spend that time for our most productive things that we need, like writing, reading, like planning, maybe working on something that's really important, creative things. So that time is a really blessed and excellent time period.
So, are you an early bird or a night owl or somewhere in between?
Look, I've done both. I've done both, and I have to say the mornings are much better. Like the evenings, depending on which time of your life and what's happening at home as well, that determines the. But at the moment, I'm a morning person.
You're a morning person. Okay, that's good. That's good. Some, I guess, some people they just are very energetic, efficient at nighttime, especially when everyone goes to bed. That's when they're alert.
Depends. I was during the Tour de France. I had to watch Tour de France. So I slept late in those 3 weeks
Well,
recently.
the issue is those who like to watch football. Usually, the games are at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And sometimes when you wake up in the morning, you have to check the scores. The first thing in the morning, it's it's hard not to touch your phone
That's right.
at times.
You know what? The best time, really, even better time than the morning, is actually if you sleep very early, like 8 p.m. or something, and then you wake up at 12. You've already done 4 hours. It's impossible for you to sleep after that, and then you've got that 4 hour during the night, extremely alert, focused, and I have done that as well. And then I know why the Prophet peace be upon him used to use that time period really well as well. But provided you have to sleep, really 3 or 4 hours before, and then wake up.
Okay, we just have a question from one of the audience. What have you wanted to do but were afraid to try? Cycling.
Well, nothing really. I wasn't. Alhamdulillah, I have this courage to try anything that I feel it's important. I feel what really drives me is the importance of the thing, and whether that thing I want to do has a meaning in my life and a direction in my that I want to follow. That I'm not afraid of anything, to be honest.
MashaAllah, that's really good. Okay, just final thoughts on maybe if you can just, I mean, we've heard some of your thoughts, but if you can just give us in maybe 2 or 3 points, how do we get out of a slump or a rut?
Okay, I'll give you 4 points how to get out
Okay,
of it.
four
The
points.
first one is to break the routine. And we already talked about this, the morning. So you break the routine in the morning and you do something creative and a big goal for the day, first thing in the morning. And then anything you like to doing, you reward yourself in the evenings and when you have breaks. The second thing is that to get out of a rut is to enjoy, like change the mindset to enjoy what you are procrastinating to do. Like, so if I, for example, I've done that recently, like there was a writing project that I was putting aside. Uh, I said to myself, I'm going to enjoy writing this. And I actually spent like 5 hours working on that. I finished it in 5 hours that it would have taken me days. So we really love doing the things that we enjoy doing. So in that respect, the things that are difficult, we have to change it and make it say, I'm going to enjoy this. So, and then you can. And then you find that it gets easier and you don't want to avoid, you want to do it straight away. Another thing is that sometimes when you're doing things repetitively or you're not able to perform as well, just go back and remember the time that you've done really well. Like, how did it feel? And what did you do? Like, to going back and remembering that time period brings the same emotions, same feelings and impulses and the energy as well. So I do this all the time. And like, for example, I said I'm teaching, sometimes repetitively. I say to myself, look, I've done this maybe 100 times, but these people are hearing it for the first time. So when I put that mindset, I enjoy. I feel like I'm delivering it for the first time as well. Like I have the same energy and the same enjoyment from that. That's a third point. And number 4, um, I think what you need to, the main thing to get out of slump, like I guess the slump is things that prevent us to do what we really need to do. So and sometimes those things are too big. So we need to break it down into the smallest chunk or task that we can do at that time. And like sometimes it's just opening up a file, just open up a Word file, just put a title. Like that's what I do when I start articles, because like writing articles is hard and it takes a lot of energy and sometimes boring. But I say, I'm just going to open up a file, put a title. That's it. But as soon as I do that, I feel like having how about an introduction? Well, how about put down all the points in my mind, and before you know it, I've spent 2 hours on it. So just do the smallest thing that would make you do it right now. Like that's what we have to do, inshallah. And another, maybe a 5th point is that once you get into it, in order to not to lose the momentum, to visualize the time that you have done it and that you watched yourself done it. Like, for example, we just, Associate Professor Zuleyha and I completed an article. It wasn't easy to do. We spent, for a few days on that. So for me I was visualizing the time that article was finished, it was published, and a lot of people were reading and sharing. And then it just motivated me to finish the article. So that visualization is extremely important. Any difficult task that we do, inshallah.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Mehmet. I think the standout point for me was that we reward ourselves with things that are always in our fingertips, that can easily distract us from the important things. So instead of, I guess sometimes we unconsciously just go on our devices and we spend 1 hour on that, and then we reward ourselves by studying for 5 minutes. It should be the other way around, for 5-10 minutes, and then we drift back. I mean, these devices are, subhanallah, they're very powerful as well. And I was just speaking to Abdul Hadi, the other Arabic teacher that I'm working with. Like, we were saying that it's come to a point where everything in our life now is almost everything in our life is either on our phones or PC. So even if we wanted to have time away from the screen, we can't. Our bank accounts are on the mobile phones now. All the forms that you need to fill out, the bills that you need to pay. If you want to study,
it's become our identity, part of our identity.
You just can't escape screen time at all. So I really like that the concept of if you do something that's really important, then you reward yourself, with checking your messages or Facebook, social media, and so on, and then continuing with something that's more important after that, and slowly rewarding yourself as well. Thank you once again, Dr. Mehmet, and thank you for everyone who attended. Inshallah, they call Wednesday the hump day, so I think it's a good topic to have on this day. This is when energy levels go down after Wednesday. So inshallah, I hope everybody enjoyed that and benefited from that, and we look forward to having you all in another conversation in the future. Watch the space, the ISRA Facebook page, YouTube page. Inshallah, we'll have more of these conversations. And I wish you all a good night. Take care, everyone. Stay safe. And Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.